What is your name?
David Brooks.
Where were you born and when?
Well, I was born in 1944 in San Pedro, California.
What war did you serve in?
I served in the Vietnam War from 1968 to 1969.
Ooh, the red, white, and blue.
Which branch of service?
Well, Army.
What was your highest rank achievement?
I was a Sergeant E5.
It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no senator, son.
What did you do for a living before entering the services?
Well, I was several things actually. I managed a service station out in Sun City, California, and I was doing it very, very well at the time. There's not much money now. Your allowances made me more than what I was making then. But at the time, it was a whole lot. I was making a lot of money.
Was it hard adapting to military life?
Yes and no. One of the things that I learned early on in the Army in basic training was don't think too much. Do what they say, and do what they say very, very well.
What was the first thing you did when you got home?
You girls will enjoy the true confession here. I had been engaged to a gal, and we dated for 4.5 years and broke up a couple months before our wedding was supposed to be. And then shortly after that, I got drafted. And I'm going, life's really not doing me real well right now. She was the one who broke up with me over this whole thing, and I'm really glad now because I like country and western music, and if you listen to Garth Brooks, thank God for unanswered prayers. That's kind of a theme song in my life. Her sister had moved to Idaho with her husband and family. That's one reason she moved up there. And so I got a hold of them on the phone, said, hey, I'm coming over. And got over there, and sure enough, this gal was married. As a matter of fact, she'd had one child and was pregnant with her second one. And it was one of those things that may sound stupid to you now, but at the time was very serious to me. I needed to see her. It's like I needed to see her one more time to get closure. As soon as I saw her, I'm going, it's over. Okay, I'm ready to get on with life. It's like I had to get closure on that one thing. So what did I do when I got back from Vietnam was your question. That long answer is I got closure on something that was still open in my life so that I could go on with my life.
How has wartime affected your life?
Oh my. That's a difficult question. The things you see, the things you experience in a war zone affect you a lot. It makes you realize how bad war is. It also makes you realize how necessary it is.
Did you have any specialized training?
Well, my specialized training was being an instructor and how to teach wheel to track vehicle electronics. That was my specialized training, along with how to be a mechanic. The Army has an inventory of vehicles. There is a technical manual on every vehicle. Think of an instruction book on how to repair every part of every vehicle. Now, the 14-week course that I had of specialized training, past basic training, was how to repair all these different vehicles. And you have this whole list of manuals that that the Army has. And you don't have to carry them with you because every unit, they have a vehicle. It's like your new car. It's like your parents get a new car, and there's the owner's manual like that. It would be a technical manual on how to repair every part of that. So that's what my 14 weeks of training was about. And then my specialized training was how to do the electric part of that. Yes.
What was departure for your training camp like?
When I first went in the service?
Yes.
Okay, this is the 60s. Long hair is standard. I would say that long hair, people's disregard for long hair now would be like a spiked purple mohawk then. I mean, now was about the same. You ladies may like it, your boyfriends or your friends may have it, which I've learned over the years has nothing to do with the quality of the person, but at the time that was a real big thing. But A lot of the guys, you get a draft notice. I was supposed to show up in San Bernardino at the fairgrounds at 5 o'clock in the morning. Many of the guys that got on that bus with me, you get on a bus and you go to downtown Los Angeles to the center. Several of the guys that got on that bus with me had hair about the length of you ladies today, and so me, I had relatively short hair, type of thing. But so I get on the bus with everybody else. I had never gotten into drugs. I told you I got into drinking pretty young, but I didn't. Drugs were something that I never did, and which I later on became very, very pleased. But my whole life I've been pleased with that. And nothing more than to tell I have 3 daughters, to tell my daughters that I've never done drugs, and I haven't, type of thing. But I didn't know what marijuana smelled like. And so, as I'm on the bus going to, I've just been drafted, I'm going to go to the reception center in downtown Los Angeles. There is this odor wafting through the bus from the guys on the back of the bus who are smoking their last joints, type of thing. So then you get so the bus gets there, and of course, a lot of the guys were pretty high by the time we're actually pretty mellow, not so high as pretty mellow at when they got there.
How was life during the war in terms of like food, or if you had any fun memories?
I have lots of fond memories. Now, food is something that I learned. Food, as you can tell, is important to me. But something I learned in the Army, and I learned this you get transferred around from company to company and like that. You're assigned to go to a mess hall. One of the things that I observed was that when you went to a new company and you went into the mess hall, you looked for the head cook. If the head clerk was drunk, you'd get really good food. If he was sober, it's going to be straight Army chow. You won't hardly have a good meal while you're there. Fortunately, in Vietnam, when I got there, the drunk was a cook. The cook was a drunk. And so in Vietnam, we had pretty good food. But the food goes on to some fond memories as well. I told you that I was in charge of transportation in the company. I didn't realize what that responsibility meant until after I'd been the motor sergeant for a couple of days. We had a club there, an NCO club in our post. And the NCO club had the equivalent of a fast food restaurant where you could buy food as well. And they served steaks were $2, and you get hamburgers with cheese. You get a cheeseburger. You get French fries. Beer was still a dime. Premium beer was 15 cents. And you could get a baked potato. Some days they didn't even have baked potatoes. Mostly it was French fries. Usually baked potatoes like that. So you could get a steak and fries and beer for $2.50. That's what it amounted to. So do I want to go to the mess hall and eat for free, or spend my $2.50 and have a beer, or maybe more than one beer? They're all canned beers. It wasn't tap beer. It was all canned beer. Well, it was all the 3.2 beer anyway, so it doesn't. It's got it's not much alcohol is what it amounts to. So anyway. So back to the food. Well, the club had to get their food from the commissary, and all the food that they were selling, and even the beer had to come from the commissary. Well, the commissary was located in a valley, Futai Valley, which was about, not far, but maybe 8-10 miles away. But you had to get there. You had to go around the mountain, and you had to get there, and you had to get back. So you needed a truck to do that. Well, if you want to use one of my trucks, what do I get in exchange for it? Well, what I got in exchange for that was eventually I would get cases of steaks. A case of steaks, a military case of steaks is 50 steaks. So I have now I have, back to the food again and good memories. I have a motor pool. It's a separate building, and like that. So we took and cut a barrel in half. You've seen half barrel. The Army has plenty of barrels around, drums, around like that. So you cut that thing in half and bolt some legs onto that thing, and you got a barbecue. So we barbecued our own steaks, and then I could also get some potatoes. So we'd barbecue steaks and wrap them. Tinfoil wasn't hard to come by. We'd have steak and potato. Every once in a while, we would come up with cases of lobster tail. Now the lobster tail was for the officers, but the officers, the commissary, I mean, they all had to get it from the same place. So for the use of my trucks, I traded food.